Good evening all. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your SPDR ETF wrap-up for this Thursday, and we are now at the 19th of August, 2021. So as we look at the markets, they were under pressure early on. All the stock indices got hit and hit hard in the futures markets, and everything followed suit in the SPDR ETFs. So it was a wicked day, as I like to call it. ARK was down nearly $2. Robinhood saying that they're not picking up anywhere near the amount of clients that they were in the other parts of the year, and they're expecting slowdown. Market down $5 on that. It's been a rough IPO any way you look at it. XLY down on the day. The Russell again getting hit pretty hard. But you did have a bit of a rally in the S&P. The Dow stayed down a fraction. So let's go to the charts and see what we have. Let's start off with ARK because it has been one of the exciting markets and it's always in the news. As you can see, to me, it's still in a downtrend, and that's what I've been saying. Peaked out here, and then you started making the pattern of lower highs, lower lows, and it's continuing on. You'd have to take out now yesterday's high of 117.99 to break that pattern. The market failed against the 200-day average and the 18 on that one bounce up, and after that, it's been Katie bar the door. Support at the 200-day average became resistance as the market rallied back into it and down another time, but you are against the lower Bollinger Band. So can you get a lot of action from that? Probably not as much as you think. We'll see. That doesn't mean I'm bullish. I'm certainly not. But the market on rallies, well, is it going to be sold? I don't think so. I think that the pros took their money out right here where I'm pointing, the first challenge of that number, the Bollinger Band, and it's just been drifting one day up, one day down since then. In Apple, the market today got back down, and again, you got up a couple of times here, as you can see, to the upper Bollinger Band, and today was a big failure. You got back under 146.47, so now you're not in a trend. Now you have a higher high and a lower low. Momentum is down. Market is saying it might be stuck in these black bands right through there. You haven't tried for the lower band yet. We'll see if it does. It doesn't have to. It's not trending. PAVE has got problems, and the problems start with the capital B, Biden. Congress is coming back on the 23rd. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to investigate the president, and they better investigate everybody involved in who is giving him advice. Now, the president claimed today that, I heard him on the news conference, I guess he did with George, if you will, and to make a long story short, nobody told him to keep 2,500 troops there. That's not what we all heard before. Somebody doesn't have it right, and of course he played the lawyer. I don't recall that was the case. I am sure that they were told to keep it, but it was all backwards. You get your people out first, and then you decide what you're going to do with troops. To me, I'd have kept all the troops there until I got the people out. And then get the troops out. They're the ones that know how to defend themselves. If you're watching, he's got a real problem. This has got to be the largest hostage situation ever for the U.S. I think we have upwards of 10,000 Americans that cannot get to the airport. Now, why they stayed there, I mean, don't they read newspapers? What's going on? Why did you stay to the end? 10,000 of them? There's a big problem there. As you take a look at XLI, higher, high, lower, low, I got to ask you another question. I live in Chicago. We have O'Hare Airport. We have Midway. Planes fly probably 18 hours a day because they have to shut down certain hours here for the residents so that the noise doesn't keep everybody awake forever, right? But this is a military airport. Why aren't they flying 24 hours a day? Why isn't each plane loaded? And don't tell me paperwork. Take everybody and get them out of there, put them in an area where they're segregated, a fenced-off area, something you can control, whatever countries. Then you do the paperwork and decide what's going to be done. But you got to get the people out. When I'm hearing, well, we did a great job so far since 5 days ago, we got out 7,000 people. XSD, lower highs, lower lows. What about the support down through there? When I look at PODX, still a complete washout. Now, it'll get to a number that doesn't make sense on the downside, but this is what you call that gorilla glue trade. Every day it hits the Bollinger Band and just keeps leaking away. ESGU. So you've gone from the upper Bollinger Band, and 72 hours later, you're at the lower Bollinger Band. We talk about that all the time. When you lose an embedded reading, like you did right here, game is over. Now, the market did hit its first target. It could go to the Bollinger Band. It doesn't have to. In this case, it did. 18-day average was what I felt it owed. XLE, the energy sector. Tell me what's going on good. Here's what I think is going to be good, and I'm probably in the world's minority. I think you're going to see very shortly a peak in these COVID cases. If it's got anything like what's happened in other countries, these numbers will naturally peak out. And from that, the market will start doing something. One thing it's going to do in the energy sector is that this huge price break that they're seeing, about $8 to $10 a barrel, you break much more, and OPEC Plus is probably not going to increase production. They'll probably just sit with their at or cut slightly to stabilize the market. When you get to the emerging markets, need I tell you? The worst trade of the year since January, this is the trade that so many traders were counting on, didn't happen. A lot of things didn't happen this year the way that people thought they'd go. Gold, big problem and acting terrible. You break 700 points in the Dow in 2 days and you can't put a rally in gold? Not a very strong market for me. What's going to make it go? That's what I don't get. Gold miners, look at how this washout goes. I mean, this is a monster break. You were up at 40. You're down in this market 25% break from there, and that's only back in the June timeframe. TLT, well, you know what's going on. People are buying U.S. interest rates because of all the uncertainty. And that uncertainty will go on. But as I said, when COVID peaks itself out, and everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end, that'll be the interesting thing for the Delta version. Let me give you the killer if something happens. Another deadly version gets discovered, and right afterwards, what do you do then? Where you're already headed is mandatory vaccines. I think you realize that. You don't have to believe me on it. That's where you're headed in a big way. FXE, look at how the market is coming down through here. So you put it all together, and you've got a market that's interesting as can be. And certainly, there were traders that if they were real bullish, they've given back money on this particular break. It's okay. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you've had a nice run-up. And if you took a look at my argument that I was making in the S&P, will you stay down under that 18-day average or give the pop back up? I'm watching that like a hawk, and I'll cover it in my morning futures and ETF combos, both for the ETF spiders and then for the futures. I do them about 3 hours apart in the morning. I start at 5:40 with one recording. About 3 hours later, I begin the spider ETF right after the market opens. How do you get them? Just go to our website under the word research. Everything's explained there, and that's where you sign up. Have a great day.